Is this something that you only see applicable for like big name artists? Or is this something that you think, your everyday person who maybe they have, let's say 100,000 followers, a super engaged audience, is this something that they could realistically pursue?
Absolutely, 1,000%. So the great thing about it is I would say, yes, you need the ability to have an audience, an engaged audience at that. But even having 100,000 is still like way more than what you actually need. So if you have somewhere between like 10,000, 20,000, but as long as you're providing that value, right? Whatever that value is that you're providing to that audience and they're willing to pay for it, then sure, it's not anything different than selling, hey, I have a course or I have this little product or widget that I'm speaking specifically to this widget group. I don't know, that loves widgets.
Right.
It's the same concept. So I think as long as you're providing value, you have that bare minimum of an audience that's engaged. Absolutely, you can still make a great fortune in this space.
That's awesome. I'm thinking, what would this look like for myself? And to give you some perspective, I've built a community. I have a nice size following on TikTok. I have kind of like an inner circle group where I do like accountability and some mastermind coaching with. So if like using me as an example, if I were to launch an NFT, is that something that I could basically attach to my group? Like owning that NFT is the requirement to get access to this group. So it's basically like instead of selling a membership, you sell the NFT, which is the membership, and then that can be resold. Am I thinking about that correctly?
No, absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You can, and that's the benefit essentially. You're saying, hey, to gain access to my group, you have to purchase this NFT membership. Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly. And you'll hear me talk more even about that, even that concept, because you're going to start seeing now in the future with businesses doing that. So I'll explain that a little bit more. I know that's one of the questions that I usually get asked, but yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, so let's get into that because that's super interesting to me. So is that something that you think would kind of take the place of almost like a stock of a business, right? Like they're launching their own NFT, and then is that something that creators could do as well? It's almost like you're launching like a share of your community, right? A share in yourself. Is that how you would think about it?
Yeah. I mean, so that's even more cool. So there's three things that pop to mind, of course, right? So when you say shares, the one thing that's cool that Tory Lanez did was basically say, hey, I'm an independent artist, and not an independent artist, but I'm an artist that is giving the ability for my album, NFT album, to be crowdfunded. So whoever buys this NFT is now participating in the earnings of that NFT, which is pretty cool. When you said share, that's something that you can code and say, hey, we are technically crowdfunding. We are technically, I'm looking for an investor for this project, and my investors are technically my audience now. So that's one thing that came to mind. And then the second thing was going into the metaverse, right? I don't know how much you guys know about that, but what I see is happening with the development of this whole NFT community is something that's called the metaverse. And what that basically is, like I said, I love to give just concepts and break it down, is if you remember back in the day when we used to play GTA, Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, and our character used to roam around the streets, and we could go into auto body shop and have to spend money to change the car or change the clothes of that individual. Well, that's the concept of the metaverse. That's literally it. The only difference is it's not a video game anymore. It's real life. If you want to walk into H&M, you have to have their token, their NFT, right? If you want their new drop of their clothes or whatever, you have to be an NFT holder. And it's cool because I'm seeing that now, like I'm forgetting the high-end brand that just did this. But it's a high-end brand, nonetheless. It's a high-end brand. And they literally said, hey, we are launching our fall line or our summer line, whatever it is. And the only way to get access to it is if you buy our NFT. Yeah. So smart. So smart.